How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to tell you about some key levels to watch out for in the crypto markets. We're talking about bullish signals, bearish signals, and everything in between. I also want to bring to you some of the top news from the day, and then also talk about who's selling, who's buying, and all that. Now, if you guys don't mind, hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. There are going to be timestamps down below, so that way you can skip through to the different parts in the video. And if you guys want, while you're down there, there's a link to BlockFi. They'll pay you up to $250 worth of Bitcoin when you sign up, and they pay interest rates. So definitely check that out. So before we go any further, I did want to tell you about this Skey network challenge. So they reached out to me and wanted to know whether I could cover them giving away $1 million to new projects, and I said definitely. So they are a sponsor of the channel now, but they're giving away a $1 million prize pool of their own token. So if you don't know what they are, they combine a couple different things, including blockchain of things, Oracle, and DeFi. So they are able to manage assets, access to assets such as cars, homes, hotels, and so on, and do that on the blockchain. So what they're doing now is they have this contest that gives companies, startups, and individual developers the chance to generate further innovative ideas, concepts, and prototypes using their blockchain. So what you do is you apply before January 8th, and then they give the winners based on this criteria over here. They give those winners out in May of 2022. So depending on the usability, feasibility, how much value this brings, you can win on these different criteria. Now again, you can check out the information underneath the video to their website, but you can send in your application, and they are picking 10 winners for this. So definitely check it out if you haven't done that already. So the crypto markets are a little bit scary right now for a lot of people. Bitcoin is holding up well, and then a lot of other cryptos are down 3, 5, 10%. A lot of the more risky cryptos are down even more. And I've had people asking me recently, should I just move all my money from Bitcoin into Ethereum and from all the other alts into Ethereum, or, do whatever, trying to switch everything around and time it. And this is where I think it's good to dollar cost average, but I'm not personally trying to time and get off certain positions and get into other ones. This is where I am sticking to dollar cost averaging, and I'm not trying to get fancy with what I'm doing, because sometimes Bitcoin just holds up much better than all these other cryptos. Ethereum's held up really well over the last week or so, but I don't like to sell cryptos that are down more. I like to hold on to them. If I am bullish on them, I stay bullish on them usually. Now, let's look at what I've said recently. Yesterday, I talked about, is the dump over tomorrow? That was because of the big news today, which was the CPI data. And it almost seemed like the dump was over because we saw a dip. We saw Bitcoin fall down to about 47,500 or so yesterday. Then we started to see it run, getting ready for CPI data, and then it jumped up and went over $50,000 actually at one point, and then it fell right back down. So it seems like some people tried to make some buys thinking it was either going to jump up because Bitcoin is a great store of value versus the US dollar. I mean, when you look at this, we had the highest number or the highest level of inflation that we've had in about 39 years. So a lot of people buying it most likely because they thought, okay, this is this great hedge against inflation. But on the other hand, like I said in the video yesterday, we could also see kind of a dump if it's too high, because that just shows that, hey, maybe the Fed's gonna raise interest rates sooner rather than later. Higher risk assets are going to get crushed more in a higher rate environment. So I said, long term, if CPI is high, that's great for Bitcoin, but short term, it might fall down because of this news. Then I said, hey, this is great news when we actually saw the CPI data this morning, because long term, if you're in Bitcoin, it's good to be in Bitcoin when there's high inflation. People will flock to it. It's just that during the day that it happens, that we see high CPI data, people do get fearful. But long term, they want to go to good stores of value against the US dollar because we're seeing it inflate like crazy. So recently, who has been selling? Obviously, we've had whales. I've talked about that. Whenever we see big liquidations, typically they're the ones driving down the price. They sell, they get people liquidated, they're on leverage, then it falls further and further, and then they buy back. But also we're seeing short-term paper hands selling. So this is the SOPR. Anytime that we're under 1 on this, it's people that are selling at a loss. So people that are selling at a loss right now probably bought around $60,000, $70,000 Bitcoin just a few weeks ago. Now they're selling. So the long-term holders aren't selling. Whales are selling just to try to liquidate people. But we have to remember that the illiquid supply is still going up. So this is very different than earlier in the year, back in April and May, where we saw the price drop, and it was because there was a lot of people flocking to the exchanges to throw Bitcoin on exchanges. Right now, it's just some whale games. It's people that are trying to drop the price, people that are getting liquidated on leverage, but you can see the price is falling, but the illiquid supply is still going up. So people are still locking away Bitcoin for the long term. Now, a couple key things to look at. First of all, our RSI is actually lower than it was earlier this year when we were around 29,000. So the strength index has reset completely. It just shows that, you know, $48,000 is the new $29,000. So we'll probably see that again. If we keep on seeing these nice jumps up in price, we might see that again where, hey, we fall down to 60,000 and 60,000 is the new 48,000. Just something to pay attention to. And of course, whenever we move up in price, no one thinks we can fall back down. And whenever we fall down in price, no one thinks we can go back up. That's just how it is. And it seems like days stretch into weeks here, but we have to remember, it was just a few days ago that we were at $60,000 Bitcoin. So TechDev is saying, hey, we need to hold this yellow box, basically 45, 46,000. Then we need a break through this line, this trend line here, and go back up. So maybe around $54,000, $55,000 if it's over the coming days, and then hit 60,000, then reclaim all-time highs. One thing to look at here is the bottom side. Obviously, bearish scenario, it drops past 45,000. Then also the bullish side where it pumps back up over that trend line. One other thing that I'm watching is just the weekly close here, making sure that the lowest part of it is higher than the last one. So we've seen this. We have not seen a lower low on the weekly since 2019. So this is just 2021, but you can see it here. Basically, we have this low here back in January where we saw about 28,000. We got to about that point back over the summer, but we bounced off of it. Here we saw about 39,000 in September. We bounced off of it. Now we saw about 42,000, but we're still way up at about 47,000. So if we fall below about 42,000, maybe even really 40,000, because we need to stay above this last lower low, about 39,500. If we stay above that, I think we're still going to go off to the races. We've seen this a couple times where we've seen it jump up, then jump down, jump up, then jump down. So I still think we are in a good scenario as long as we don't close under this. Now, a couple big pieces of news happening in the market. Pepsi announces first ever brand NFT with Pepsi Mic Drop Collection. So they're going to create about 1,900 NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain today, December 10th. Now this is big just because another huge company is getting into NFTs, and we've seen this all throughout the year. Big companies buying NFTs, creating NFTs. We've seen McDonald's and Burger King get into NFTs and crypto too. Everyone wants a piece of it because it is such a hot place to be. And these types of things just bring more attention to crypto in general. I think it's really good for adoption. I mean, people really like Pepsi and Coke, and they are going to want to collect these. Also, Meta is allowing crypto payments through Novi wallets in the US. So WhatsApp is huge. If you're in the US, you might not use WhatsApp at all, because I know I don't, but a lot of people outside the US use WhatsApp. They don't even use iMessage like through iPhone. They use WhatsApp or some other type of communication. But WhatsApp integrating through Novi is huge, because that's 2 billion people that are now going to be able to send crypto payments very easily on their phone. So it's kind of a downward spiral. We know that after you get into stablecoin, then you get into Bitcoin, then you kind of go into Ethereum or some of the other alts, and it's just a spiral down from there. You get into the lower cap altcoins. So overall, there's still more adoption. That's something that I always like to see, and it's something that always is happening these days. More and more people are getting access to crypto. There are 5 or 10 different stories I could show you here too. New people getting access to crypto. But we only have so much time, and I want to stay on topic for you. Now, definitely pay attention to these levels, the $46,000 level, the $42,000 to see if we fall below where we were earlier this week, then also that $40,000 range or $39,500 to make sure we stay above that last low. Now, if we get back over the 50,000, we turn that into support, I think that will be a good sign, because we got rejected from that here today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.